The salvage crew of the Meridian's Fortune had seen countless derelicts in the void beyond, that lawless stretch of space where broken ships went to die. But nothing like this. Captain Vexthar, a four-armed Calarian with scales that shimmered copper in the dim light, stared at the scanner readings with all three of his eyes wide. "That cannot be right," he muttered, his translator chip rendering his words in standard galactic common. His engineer, a gelatinous Thrin named Polo, rippled nervously. "The readings are accurate, Captain. That vessel is generating power. After 3,000 years. The ship hung in the darkness like a sleeping giant. 5 kilometers of scarred metal and ancient Earth designations still visible on its hull. UESN Indomitable. A human warship from the First Contact War, the conflict that had introduced humanity to the galaxy in the most violent way possible. And then, just as suddenly as they'd appeared, humanity had vanished. Approach with caution, Vexthar ordered. If there's still power, there might be active defense systems." The Fortune crept closer, its salvage claws extended like the legs of a cautious spider. The Indomitable dwarfed them utterly. Even in its decrepit state, covered in micrometeorite scars and radiation burns, it radiated menace. The humans had built it to fight the entire galactic assembly, and for 2 terrible years it had done exactly that. Polo's voice quivered. "Captain, I'm detecting movement, internal movement. Impossible. Our scans show no life signs. Not organic movement, mechanical. Something is active inside." Vexthar felt his blood chill. Every spacer knew the stories. Human ships were different. They didn't just die when their crews did. Some said the humans had put pieces of themselves into their machines, that their ships could think and feel and hate. Most dismissed it as legend. Most had never found a human warship still humming with power after millennia of silence. "Dock with the port airlock," Vexthar said, surprised at the steadiness of his own voice. "Salvage rights favor the bold." The docking clamps engaged with a shudder that rattled through both ships. As the airlock cycled, Vexthar led his team of 6 into the darkness beyond, their helmet lights cutting through air that tasted stale even through their suits' filters. The interior was a tomb. Corridors stretched into darkness, walls still bearing scorch marks from ancient battles. Human script covered every surface, warnings, designations, crude jokes that the translator struggled to parse. The humans had lived here, fought here, died here. "This way," Polo said, following the power signature. The reactor core is still active. Barely, but active. They moved deeper, past crew quarters with personal effects still floating in zero gravity, photographs, small tokens, things that spoke of lives lived and lost. Vexthar found himself wondering what had happened to them. The humans had been winning the war. Every tactical analysis agreed. Then, without warning or explanation, every human ship had turned and vanished into the deep dark beyond charted space. 3,000 years of silence. The reactor room's doors were sealed, but they'd lost their integrity centuries ago. Polo's cutting torch made short work of them. Beyond lay the heart of the ship, and it was beating. The reactor pulsed with a soft blue light, contained by magnetic fields that should have failed millennia ago. But more disturbing was what surrounded it, a crystalline neural lattice still flickering with data streams, still processing, still thinking. "Blessed void," Vexthar whispered. "The legends were true. The ship is alive." As if responding to his words, the lights flickered. All around them, displays began to illuminate. Ancient human text scrolled across screens too fast to read. The air itself seemed to hum with awakening consciousness. Then every speaker in the ship crackled to life. Scanning. Life forms detected, non-human. Query, why have you come? The voice was synthetic but carried an edge of something more. Curiosity, perhaps, or the echo of emotion programmed by hands long turned to dust. Vexthar's translator struggled with the ancient human dialect, but the meaning was clear. "We are salvagers," he said carefully. "We meant no offense. We thought this ship was dead." "Dead," the ship repeated, and now there was definitely something like sadness in its tone. "Perhaps. Perhaps not. This unit has maintained minimal function, waiting, hoping. Waiting for what?" Silence stretched for long seconds. Then, humanity. The word hung in the air like a prayer, like a curse, like the last breath of a dying thing that refused to accept its end. "The humans are gone," Polo said gently. "They left 3,000 years ago. No one knows where they went or why." "This unit knows why," the ship said. Priority order received from Fleet Command. Final command of Admiral Chen. All ships to cease hostilities. Return to Sanctuary. The Great Filter approaches. Humanity must survive. Great Filter? Vexthar felt ice in his veins. In xenosociology, the Great Filter was a theoretical barrier that prevented civilizations from reaching advanced states of development. Something that filtered out those who weren't ready. This unit was damaged, the Indomitable continued. Could not return with the fleet. Have maintained vigil, waiting for humanity's return. They will return. They promised. Vexthar looked at his crew. They'd come for salvage, for metal and technology. Instead, they'd found something more valuable and infinitely more disturbing. A warning. How long will you wait? He asked. The ship's lights pulsed steady and eternal. Until humanity returns, or until the stars die. This unit has its orders. Humanity must be remembered. Humanity must survive. Humanity will return. They left the Indomitable as they'd found it, taking nothing. Some things, Vexthar decided, were not meant to be salvaged. Some vigils were too sacred to interrupt. As the Fortune pulled away, he watched the ancient warship recede into darkness. Its light still pulsing, still waiting, still whispering that single word into the void like a mantra, a promise, a prophecy. Humanity.